tonight, and we continue our journey with the book Ask and It Is Given. And today the chapter that we are going to discuss is chapter 10. And the title of the chapter is The 3 Steps to Whatever You Want to Be, Do, or Have. And that, in fact, is one of my favorite Abraham affirmations. I am unlimited. I can have, be, or do anything I want. So, in this chapter, basically, Abraham lays the foundation of the 3 steps of creation. Step 1, ask. Step 2, source answers. And step 3, receive. Most of the work that we are going to do in this book, and certainly in this chapter, is to do with receiving. And the reason that is so is because step 1 happens all the time. It's happening every day, all the time, because we are asking for things all the time. Now, you may not consider it asking because they're not big things, but you are asking. You're asking to get to work on time. You're asking to get the person that you want to speak to on the phone on the other side of the line. You are asking to find the parking space. You're asking for your grass to be cut. You're asking for the sun to shine. You're asking all the time. We all are. That is the nature of life. So asking doesn't take any work at all. In fact, what I've learned from Abraham is that we tend to spend too much time on asking, whereas we don't need to do that at all. We don't need to take time away from our day in order to sit down and pray or ask the universe for something, because universe hears every thought. And I think this is one of the biggest flaws in our thinking, because I don't know about you, but as a child, I was taught that I should pray. And when I pray, then I should bless everyone in my life, and then I should ask for what I want. But that's not the way. I've discovered that's not the way it works. Asking is happening all the time, and the universe is listening and responding all the time. What we need to do during prayer is to put ourselves in a place of receiving. And we do that with appreciation. We do that with meditation. Basically, anytime when we're feeling relaxed and feeling satisfied and good about our life, that's when we are receiving. So before I go any further, let's address step 2, because then we'll spend the rest of our time on step 3. So if you're clear on this, type a comment to let me know. Just say the word clear in the comments, because if you're clear that asking is happening all the time and we don't specifically need to ask the universe for anything, then in fact you are doing really, really well, because we don't need to do more than that. Oh, hi, Diana and Desba, Bridget and Rushla. Okay, don't know if I said that right, but thank you for joining me tonight. All right. So we don't need to specifically ask. And that is also very important to know. We don't need to be specific about the things that we ask. Being general is a really, really good and preferable thing. Why is it preferable? Because when you are general, make a note of this, folks. When you are general, you don't need to pay attention to where you are on the emotional scale. You do not need to pay attention to where you are on the emotional scale when you are general. But when you get specific about what you want, you have to be aware enough to know whether or not you are at the higher levels of the emotional scale, because getting specific about what you want at the lower half of the emotional scale actually pushes that thing that you want further away from you. And getting specific from the top of the emotional scale brings it to you faster. But if you don't know where you are, then don't get specific. A lot of times I find people think that they are feeling good and they start becoming specific. But the problem is a lot of people have forgotten how to be in touch with their feeling place. And whenever I get asked this question, my response always is, if you're feeling good, try to remember what it used to feel like to play with balloons and blow bubbles. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like you're laying on the ground looking up at the sky and watching the clouds go by? Do you feel like that? Because if you feel like that, then for sure you must be in the higher levels of the emotional scale. But if you're not feeling that way, then chances are extremely high that you are not high up there on the emotional scale. So please don't get specific. The other way to know where you are on the emotional scale is to look around you. Do you have 70 or 80% of the things that you've been asking for? Does your life on a scale of 1 to 10 feel like a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10? Because if it does, then yes, you are high up on the emotional scale and things that you want are on their way to you. But if you don't feel that way, if you wake up and you feel like, this day feels like a 4, then that means that you should not get specific about what you want. Leave it up to the universe. You don't need to be specific because the universe knows all the specifics. So you don't need to become specific in order to tell the universe, I want a man and he has to be this tall and have so much money and work this kind of job and have this sort of family and live in this kind of a house. You don't need to tell the universe any of that because the universe already knows that. The reason you make a list that is as specific as that is to feel good. Because if you are in this realm of the emotional scale, 7, 8, 9, and 10, then when you get specific and you make a list of all the attributes that you want, you add more pulling power to your desire and it comes to you faster. So you don't make a list of what you want in order to tell the universe. You make a list of what you want because it's exciting. It's exciting and you can feel that thing coming at you really, really quickly. That's why you get specific. Otherwise, the best strategy is if you don't know and you can't decide where you are on the emotional scale, just stay general. What does that mean? What does it look like to be general? Being general looks like saying to yourself, I don't need to figure this out. All I need to ask for is joy. Universe, I want to be happy. Please bring me all those circumstances, people, places, and events that will contribute towards my well-being and my happiness. That's it. That is general. And that is why the pre-paving in the Unlimited book is so powerful. So I know the people who are on the call just now are also part of the Unlimited group, but for those people who are going to tune in and view this recording later on, this is the Unlimited workbook. And the morning intention in this workbook is extremely powerful because it is general enough and asks only for satisfaction. So I'm just going to take a minute and read this to you, and it's so easy to do. You can, when I first started pre-paving, I used to write it on a card and place it on my nightstand so that I would remember to pre-pave before I went to bed and pre-pave again when I woke up in the morning. But this pre-paving is something that you can do at any time in your day, but it is a good thing. It is recommended that you do it when you wake up. So dear God or dear universe or dear source or whoever it is that you look up to, thank you for a brand new opportunity to enjoy life. I want my day to unfold with ease. I want good things to come my way. I want to remember to appreciate people, places, and things. I want to be good to myself and others. I want to end this day feeling happy and satisfied, and I want to remember at all times that all things are possible. So an intention like that, that says, all I want is to end this day feeling happy and satisfied. That's it. That's all you want. If you're going in to see someone, I want to end this meeting feeling happy and satisfied. If you're going on a journey, I want to go on my journey and feel happy and satisfied when I arrive. All of the things that we want them because at the end of the day, we want to feel happy and satisfied. So why ask for anything specific? Why not just ask the universe? Universe, give me everything that's going to contribute to my feeling of satisfaction, my happiness and joy. And that's it. That's all we need. So folks, you are already doing step 1. So every time your thoughts wander and you go towards saying, oh, that I'm still looking for that relationship or that job or the money that I've been asking for, where is it? Stop yourself and then go back and repeat this pre-paving or this affirmation that I just read out to you. So that takes care of step 1. We don't need to specifically sit down and journal. A lot of people are talking about the scripting process or other processes. You don't really need to sit down and tell the universe what you want. The only reason we do any process is because we want to put ourselves into step 3, because step 2 is not our job. Step 2 is the universe's job. And it happens automatically because soon as you think a thought, the thought becomes the thinker. And so now the thought is thinking independent of you. And that is why, as I explained a couple of chapters back, I don't remember which chapter it was specifically, but the thought becomes the thinker. So the thought now has an emotional scale. And if you want that thought to materialize into something physical, a manifestation, you have to meet it over here because you gave birth to the thought from a place of joy, right? It makes you feel happy when you think of the change, even if you're incarcerated. When you think of your freedom, that gives you joy. So all those thoughts, desires are given birth to from a place of joy. Okay, so once you have created it, you are the creator and you are also the creation. Once you have created that thing that you want, it is out there pulsating and will gather more energy and momentum. It will gather more energy because that is how non-physical stuff becomes manifested stuff. It's that analogy that I've used in past chapters where I give the example of steam becoming ice. So that whole process of transformation is the same process of transformation for anything that we manifest. First, it is like steam, non-physical, you can't see it. But then the transformation occurs and it results in something that you can touch, feel, and taste physically. Okay, so step 2, really we are not contributing to step 2. It's already a done thing. Step 3 is our work, and step 3 is the most important work that we are going to do. And step 3 is opening the door to let in all those things that we have been asking for. And how does that happen? What does it really mean to open that door? What does it mean? It means not to keep the door closed. And how do we keep the door closed? We keep the door closed in a couple of ways. One of which is looking for the manifestation. That is what is popularly called attachment to the outcome. Attachment to the outcome means I'm looking for the result. I've asked for it, and now, universe, I need you to deliver it to me. Where is it? I want you to deliver it to me. That is attachment. anytime we look for the manifestation or the evidence that the things that we want are actually taking physical form, that is attachment. And attachment pushes things away. Why? Why does attachment push things away? Well, because attachment says, when you ask the question, where is it, I want it, you are noticing the absence of it. So if everything was two things, the having of it and the absence of it, then any time you ask the question, where is that stuff that I asked for, you are now looking at the absence of it. And when you look at the absence of something, you perpetuate absence. When you look at the having of something, you perpetuate having. It's as simple as that. So you've already asked, now stop asking. There's no reason for you to go there. And if your thoughts go there, you have to stop yourself and go back to the pre-paving that I just shared with you, the affirmation that I just shared with you. Because all you need to ask the universe for is, universe, whatever is good for me, whatever is going to contribute to my well-being, whatever gives me satisfaction and joy, that's all I want. Okay? So we purposefully make ourselves unhappy by asking questions. Where is it? Why has it not happened so far? Why can't I manifest it and other people can manifest it? All these questions promote attachment, and all these questions are based in a feeling of lack. So what we need to do is to put ourselves in a place of allowing. And how do we do that? So it's very easy. First of all, if you're not getting it, if it's not coming and you're not excited about it, then that means that you're thinking about it in the wrong way. And all you need to do, so there are two ways to do this. One, get off the subject completely. Don't think about it. Don't go there. Every time your thoughts go there, stop yourself and start thinking about something else. Because as soon as you take your mind off the subject, so here's the subject: the having of the relationship and the not having of the relationship, the having of the money and the not having of the money. But if I don't think about money at all, now I'm not thinking of this, nor am I thinking of this, so I'm not activating either one of them. That is the benefit of getting off the subject completely. When Abraham says, and I repeat many times in all my teachings, get off the subject. Go and appreciate a tree, a flower, a child, an animal. Because when you do that, you are no longer focused on the subject, which means you're not focusing on the having of it or the absence of it. And once you do that, now the universe can act on it. Now the universe has the door open, because you don't need to tell the universe what you want or how to bring it to you. The universe has all the resources and knows already how to accomplish that. So get off the subject. And getting off the subject is probably the easiest thing to do, because you cannot let go of a thought. Our minds are really, really powerful. They are super machines, but our minds will not let go of a thought unless you replace it with another thought. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to forget about this. No, you won't. Unless you consciously introduce a different subject, unless you consciously start thinking about something else. So that's the first and the easiest way of doing it. But some people, no matter how much Abraham tries to teach them, no matter how many times I say get off the subject, some people will still go to the subject. And that happens because of momentum. When you have, so if you're not getting the manifestation that you want, you're on the negative half of the emotional scale, which means you have a lot of momentum here. You've been thinking that way for a very long time. That momentum will always pull you towards it, because it is literally like a magnetic pull. So it will keep pulling your thoughts in that direction unless you do something to break the chain. Pattern interrupt. Psychology has caught up to that. Pattern interrupt. You need to interrupt whatever thought you're having. And some time ago, people were talking about, oh, let's wear a rubber band around your wrist. That's where those rubber band bracelets came from. and then you pull the elastic band, so you hurt yourself, and that reminds you not to go there. That's one way of doing it. Another way is just to stop and look at something else, right? Third way that I teach, that I call the fire drill for our mind, is that you program yourself basically to easily find a thought that gives you joy. Maybe it's something from your past, right? Something from your past, a time when you were completely relaxed and totally happy. Go back to that moment in time and make it into a thought anchor, meaning it is a thought that keeps you rooted in a good feeling place and does not allow your boat to float away. So we want to stay rooted in this place of satisfaction. So when a thought comes, oh, I still don't have that job, I still don't have that money, I still don't have the health, the figure, the relationship, stop and introduce the pattern interrupt using that thought anchor. Okay, that's it. I know what I'm thinking is not helpful. Say that to yourself. I know what I'm thinking is not helpful because I know I'm experiencing lack just now. I'm going to stop and I'm going to grab my thought anchor. And if you already have pre-planned a couple of things that are your thought anchors, then it works exactly like a fire drill that we do in a building. In schools, hospitals, any building, you have a fire drill so that when a panicky situation happens, when there's an actual fire, people know what to do and they are able to get out safely. So the reason I call this process the fire drill for your mind is because if you feel panicky, then you know exactly what to do. You just go to that thought, you know that's your thought anchor, and it will calm you down. All you have to do is breathe a few times, really deep, and that soothes you right away, and then grab your thought anchor. My thought anchors are really simple. They are glimpses of my children doing lovable, adorable things. And I can go there right away because I've practiced them so many times. Okay? So that's one of the ways that you do things. That is how you get off the subject. The second way that you can deal with this is when something keeps coming up and keeps coming up and keeps coming up. When it comes up, every time it comes up, it is going to reveal a negative belief. Oh, I didn't still get that job. I guess I'm just not qualified enough. That second part, I'm not qualified enough, that's a negative belief. And what you do with negative beliefs is you have to find a way to disprove them to your mind. I call this the 4-step process: knowing where you are, knowing where you want to go, and then step 3, soothe yourself, make yourself feel a little better, and step 4, add momentum. So soothing, the process of soothing is where you give your mind evidence so that you don't feel as bad. So the evidence that you give your mind is, yes, that's okay, I don't have a job yet. However, there are so many people who are finding jobs, and there must be jobs out there because the job boards are full of postings. So I'm sure that it's only a matter of time, and as long as I keep myself in a positive place, I'm sure that job will show up. Right? So that's how we practice that process. All right? So you have to break down that negative belief that's keeping you from going where you want to go. Right? And there are many examples. Actually, I have a lot of examples. Abraham talks about some examples in this chapter. Where are they? And then I have a lot of examples as well in my workbook. Okay, I didn't highlight them so I can't see them just now. But in my workbook, the Heart and Mind Alignment Method, there are many examples of what we do, because we go negative when in reality we should be going positive. So I'm just going to read to you a couple of the examples from this book just to clarify what I mean and what Abraham is trying to teach us. Okay. Hang on, guys. All right. So, on the subject of love, if you're saying, I hate being alone, really what you want to say is, I would like a companion. On the subject of self-worth, if you say, I don't like the way I look, really what you should be saying is, I want to look nice. Because when you phrase it that way, now you're not activating the negative side of the stick. You are activating the positive side of the stick, right? When you talk about money, instead of saying, money doesn't grow on trees, you can say, I want money to flow to me easily. When it feels like I have too much debt, tell yourself, I want to feel free. It's a way of saying the same thing, but pointing on the having of it. Health, when you think about health, it's not getting any better. You could say instead, I'm sure I will find something that helps, right? Because that's really what you're looking for. So talk about what you want instead of talking about the absence of it. Oh, here, I found where Abraham gives their example. Okay, so I want to be well instead of saying I don't want to be sick. I want to have financial security instead of saying I want to experience a shortage of money. I don't want to experience a shortage of money. I want the perfect relationship to come to me instead of saying I don't want to be alone. Same thing, right? Okay, fantastic. So then Abraham says, basically that's it. They conclude the three-step process by giving more examples. The next one they talk about is about the car. I really need a new car, you explain when you talk to people or friends. But when you say those words, you are actually looking at the lack of it, because there's a difference between wanting something and needing something. Needing comes from a place of lack. Wanting comes from a place of joy. Okay. And then Abraham ends by saying, there is no source of sickness. There is no source of evil. There is no source of anything bad. It's just allowing or not allowing the wellness, the well-being that is available to us from flowing. So, folks, remember that our emotions, and this is what Abraham is saying right at the end here, is that our emotions tell us how connected we are to that non-physical part of us. Our emotions are the guide. Our emotions are the guide that tell us whether we are on the same wavelength as the desires that we've hatched. Are we on the same wavelength as the things that we want to manifest? And we can only manifest those things that that we are in vibrational alignment with. So that concludes our meeting tonight to discuss chapter 10. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as I did, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you tomorrow for chapter 11. Take care in the meantime, and if you have any questions about this material or about past chapters, feel free to post them in the comments and I will look after them. Thank you again for coming to support my effort. I really, really appreciate it. Take care, guys. Have a good night.